My name is Rodrigo Prado de Queiroz, and here is my PowerPoint about what factors influence human perception. In sociology psychology, the term person perception refers to different mental processes that we use to form impressions of other people. This includes not just how we form these impressions, but the different conclusions we make about other people based on our impressions. Slide 2. Consider how often you make this kind of judgment every day. When you meet a new coworker, you immediately begin to develop an initial impression of this person. When you visit the grocery store after you work, you might draw conclusions about the cashier who checks you out, even though you know very little about them. This allows us to make snap judgments and decisions, but can also lead to biased or stereotype perceptions of other people. Let's take a closer look at how person perception works and the impact it has on our day-to-day, which is a lot, interactions with other people. Slide 3. How we form impressions. Obviously, person perception is a very subjective process that can be affected by a number of variables. Factors that can influence the impressions you form of other people include the characteristics of the person you are observing. The context of the situation is your own personal traits and your past experience. When people often form impressions of others very quickly, with only minimal information, we frequently base our impressions on the roles and social norms we expect from people. For example, you might form an impression of a city bus driver based on how you would anticipate a person in that relate to behave, considering individual personality characteristics only after you have formed this initial impression. Slide 4. Physical cues can also play an important role. If you see a woman dressed in a professional looking suit, you might immediately assume that she works in a formal setting, perhaps at a law firm or bank. The silence of the information we perceive is also important. Generally, we tend to focus on the most obvious points rather than noting background information. The more novel or obvious a factor is, the more likely we are to focus on it. If you see a woman dressed in a tailored suit with her hairstyle in a bright pink mohawk, you are likely to pay more attention to her unusual hairstyle than her sensible business attire. Slide 5. Social categorization. One of the mental shortcuts we use in person perception is social categorization. What is social categorization? In this process, we mentally categorize people into different groups based on common characteristics. Sometimes this process occurs consciously, but for the most part, social categorization happens automatically and unconsciously. Some of the most common social categories are age, gender, occupation, and also race. Slide 7. Because of social categorization, you immediately judge the woman as harmless and the man as strangely linked to the loss of your wallet. While social categorization can be useful at the times, it can also lead to this kind of mean judgments. Slide 8. Implicit personality theories. An implicit personality theory is a collection of beliefs and assumptions that we have about how certain traits are linked to other characteristics and behaviors. Once we know something about cardinal trait, we assume that the person also exhibits other traits that are commonly linked to key characteristics. For example, if you observe that A new coworker is very happy. You might immediately assume that they are also friendly, kind, and generous. As with the social categorization, implicit personality theories help people make judgments quickly, but they also contribute to stereotyping and errors.